I think it's going to be fascinating. I think the biggest problem that we have, because if, you know, there are a lot of people out there, you know, Peter Bach at Memorial Sloan and others, Dr. Kajanjian down in MD Anderson, we're looking at putting petitions together. Yesterday was actually sent the pharmaceutical industry in a panic, because as part of the budget, so-called vote-a-rama, the 24 or so amendments that were circulating on the budget vote over in the Senate, Senator Jack Reed put in an amendment that would allow the government to negotiate prices with pharmaceutical companies. It was broad enough that it didn't sort of violate the deal that was made, you know, around the MMA and all that. But the bottom line is, I can tell you, it sent pharma in a panic because of negotiation. And here's my point of it. I think the problem is, and this is a big structural issue, and Scott and I will talk about that later, but we have a regulated market. We have a regulated market that we're actually trying to have it compete as a fair market. So the problem is, with those regulations, that's an impediment. I'm a free market guy. I believe at the end of the day, basically the market, if you allow the market, if you get products out on the market, you make them available, you don't cap them, and by the way, I don't want to go backwards again, but let me ask you all, if you're a pharmaceutical manufacturer and you have to give a 50% discount on a product and the number of discounts that you have to give grow, what are you going to do when you price the product? You're going to put it into the product. That's what's also happening. That's another effect on the 340B side. So we have price controls, we have things like that that are contrary to letting the market operate as a truly free market. I think we saw a glimpse of it with the Sovaldi and the new AbbVie drug.
Well, you know, I agree wholeheartedly. I think things like Medicaid best price prevent innovation in how pharmaceutical companies approach contracting and approach pricing. I think that the drug makers, for their part, would be wise to embrace these competitive models and things that the PBMs might do to try to, because it's going to be an alternative to more draconian policy, which we saw introduced yesterday. And my prediction for the 2016 election is that the issue of affordability is going to be the sort of paramount political talk point. And I think what you're going to see on the Democratic side, quite frankly, is that they're going to run on, well, Obamacare expanded access. The issue was that it's not affordable, and it's because of all these insurance companies and drug companies that are making too much money under the scheme. And you're going to see a movement towards more aggressive measures for the government to step in and try to regulate pricing. On the Republican side, I think you're going to hear a discussion about the issue of insurance access as a problem of affordability. We need more competition and more choice in the market. So I think we had a change election in 2008. I think this is going to be an affordability election when it comes to the discussion around healthcare. And these kinds of models where you have the ability to have multiple entrants in the market and a competitive pricing scheme because insurance companies, PBMs, others are making choices about how they contract, that's the market-based solution to bringing more affordability into market.
I think there's just one other point.